Welcome back to the Nick Weitoish Show for January 20th, 2026. I want to start this one off by saying happy birthday to my favorite person in the entire world, going on now for 17 years straight, my little cousin, which is crazy to say, little cousin, when she turns 17 today. Wow, oh wow. Sunderland, love you so much. Happy birthday, and we're going to get into a big time episode today. This is going to be recorded in two parts, and it's going to be posted later tonight, not in the morning. Shorter drive to work today, so either a short episode or just a posted later episode, which is going to be the case because I have a lot to say and a lot to go over for the big, massive weekend that we just watched. TNA Genesis, Collision, SmackDown, and then, of course, Raw last night. I did not get an episode out last night, just because of how what we were doing, off work and off school wise. So had to be entertainment. Didn't get a chance to record, but that's okay. Got a jam-packed episode today, and without further ado, we're gonna start with the SmackDown results from Friday. Was that the 17th? Oh man, I don't even know. But of course, we have to start with thanking our good friends over at No Dirt Sheets for the Surfshark VPN. Without Surfshark VPN, we won't be watching. We would have to watch Netflix on the CW and not on Netflix tonight, which of course doesn't happen. Always watch on Netflix. You get to see bonus coverage. You don't have to deal with ads. It's 5 minutes of ads in the first 10 minutes of the show or the final 15 minutes of the show. You get to see the in-between stuff. You get to see the promos that they cut, the interviews that they do that they don't show on TV, or while the show is live, whenever they do cut to commercials. So you get to see all that and so much more. It also helps out No Dirt Sheets more than people do realize. So on January 16th, we end the show with Trick Williams laying out Sami Zayn after Sami Zayn qualifies for the Fatal 4-Way for the number one contenders match for Drew McIntyre's WWE Championship. So that was the main event, kind of a lackluster main event. Both those guys do nothing for me. Trick Williams is going to be a star, and I can. That is plain as day and right there in front of your face. If you're not believing that, there's a problem. Massive pop for that one, for Trick Williams whenever he came out there in, I believe they were in London at the OVO Arena. But SmackDown kicked off with Drew McIntyre and Randy Orton. A 16 minute segment there. Drew McIntyre coming out, telling the crowd, don't cheer him now when they didn't cheer him before. Blah blah blah. Copy and paste of when Naomi won her title back in September, October, whenever that was. Feels like an eternity ago now. Randy Orton came out to prepare for his qualifying match against The Miz. Randy Orton would defeat The Miz and advance to the Fatal 4-Way Saturday night's main event. We then had the tag match. I believe that was a number one contenders match as well. Just a tag match. Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss defeated Julia and Kiana James. We do have the women's tag team championship match at Saturday night's main event. Rhea Ripley and Io Sky versus the Judgment Days, Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez. So Charlotte Flair and Alexa Bliss, they are on a winning streak, I guess you could say. After doing a couple of singles matches, they do that all the time, where they do one versus one, the other versus the other, and then they do the tag match to really stretch out these feuds with tag matches, which is fine, but just throw some new tag teams in there. That's all we're saying. Lash Legend and Nia Jax would, of course, storm to the ring, attack Charlotte and Alexa, Nia Jax and Lash Legend also bumped into Julia, who you leave the champion fuming to really, really, really sell that and build on all of that. So that is where we were at with the first, like, I would say the first hour of SmackDown really was really fast paced. It was good pacing, quality matches, I guess. If you're fans of McIntyre and fans of Orton, not that I'm not a fan of Randy Orton, but it's just it's the same thing over and over again. It's not anything special each time. It's a carbon copy and paste. Just like Cody Rhodes coming out and declaring for the Royal Rumble, mentioning Shawn Michaels, Hulk Hogan, and Stone Cold Steve Austin, the only guys to ever win it back-to-back along with him, and then only one of them that won it a third time, Cody Rhodes would mention and then declare himself for the Rumble. After mentioning and acknowledging that Drew McIntyre said that he would have to start from the bottom before he would be able to get a rematch, because there is no rematch clause, which is why point that out. You could have just left that out and had Cody declare for the Rumble and him say that himself. But of course, they're still teasing us with this, heel like Cody and doing some not so great stuff. I could see him going on a losing streak, and then the crash out comes, and then he turns heel, which would be awesome. It would be very awesome. All right, so we had, and then of course we had Jacob Fatu come out. In between this, Kit Wilson came out. And I don't know if this was on camera or not on camera, because they're not covering or not talking about this on the website with the review and the results. But Kit Wilson would come out, and then Jacob Fatu would attack him, and then Cody would come back out after Jacob called him out. But that might have been later after the Trick Williams defeat. Yes, it was because Trick Williams would defeat Matt Cardona to advance to Saturday night's main event in the qualifying match, and then Kit Wilson would come out, would attack Matt Cardona. Jacob Fatu would come out and would definitely let him have it, and then Cody and Jacob Fatu, they brawled, of course. They did make this match official for Saturday night's main event. So Saturday night's main event, we're looking at 3 matches right now. And it's Saturday. It's Saturday night, and we are looking at just 3 matches. So I look for one more to be added, but we will have to see. Damian Priest would defeat Solo Sikoa. I'm pretty sure this was a qualifying match, but it does not say so on the website. But I'm 99% sure this was indeed a qualifying match. Nothing to write home about this one at all. And then we did have a United States Open challenge. It was Leon Slater. This is the reason why he was not at the TNA show, which would be the following night on Saturday. They said that he was having visa issues, but he showed up at SmackDown. So sometimes they really dumb it down for us and keep kayfabe alive. He might have actually had visa issues because he is from London, and that's where they were at. So that could be true, but nonetheless, TNA ex-champion getting some action on SmackDown, which is pretty cool to see. And Carmelo Hayes gets another defense of that United States Championship. Really cool to see them continuing to do those open challenges. So that's where we were at with that one. Jordynne Grace would defeat Chelsea Green and then stand toe-to-toe with Jade Cargill. Jade was ringside for the match, and Jordynne Grace was mentioning that she's gone 70-something days and has not really defended the title. 0 actual defenses, I think she said. Jade has wrestled, but it's not been for the title. It's been squash matches from Michin and B-Fab and Michin and B-Fab. So hopefully that would be cool to see that one get added to Saturday night's main event. I don't think they will. I definitely don't think they will, because why would they spotlight women's titles other than the tag titles? Only because Rhea is holding one of them. Then we had, of course, the main event, like I talked about. Sami Zayn defeating Ilya Dragunov to advance to Saturday night's main event. That was the final qualifying match, and he would pick up the win there. That is now official for Saturday night's main event, which is, again, this Saturday, streaming on Peacock. All right, let's see. We don't even have a graphic for the women's tag title match there at Saturday night's main event. We go to Monday Night Raw. We'll keep it going, and then we'll jump to TNA, and then we will jump to Collision. And I'm about 20 minutes away from work, so this is going to be a time crunch of all time crunches. Raw starts things off with, I believe, Gunther kicked off the show, and he would... Gunther kicked off the show. AJ Styles came out, challenged him to a rematch. After their match last week, Gunther said no because there's no incentive for him, and then came back into the ring and said there could be an incentive, and AJ Styles, not backing down as he normally does, just said name it 3 times, and then Gunther said, you put your career on the line and you can have your match at the Royal Rumble. AJ Styles said that's done, no problem. Went backstage to Pierce, and he made it official, and we got that graphic lickety-split. But again, we don't have a graphic for the tag titles that is at the same event, and that's also the only other match that we have. So 2 graphics for Saturday night's main event, 3 matches. They can't even. The build to these shows has been abysmal. Because the Rumble is also next Saturday, and we have 3 matches: the men's Rumble, the women's Rumble, and AJ Styles versus Gunther. I mean, what are we doing? Why do they constantly not? What do they have against actually building a show and giving us good quality premium live events? If it's premium, there should be 7 or 8 matches, not 4. This is insane. And not 4, and one of them is added at the very last possible minute. The Rumble, I would not be shocked if that's all we get, and they just make both Rumbles an hour and some change, and then Gunther and AJ Styles, if they give that a good 30 minutes, although Gunther probably couldn't go that far. We go to Becky Lynch and Maxine Dupree in a women's Intercontinental Championship match. Becky Lynch would pick up a win, and Natty would return and turn on Maxine. So this was great. I didn't get to see it because I was, of course, back and forth with what I was doing earlier in the day. Monday, I missed it. But from the videos and the clips that I saw, that was awesome. We know that Becky is on a roll. And Maxine is actually getting pushed. They're actually building Maxine up to be a massive babyface, and it's about time that they start to do that. We need a little bit more before we can actually say that it worked. But Maxine Dupree and Natalya going back and forth, having a feud, I would not mind that at all. I think that could be very, very good. We go from there to a 6-man tag team action. Rey Mysterio, Penta, Dragon Lee defeated Logan Paul, Bronson Reed, and Austin Theory. So they're continuing this vision against Mysterio and his guys. Mysterio would apparently use the brass knuckles. Would use Logan Paul's brass knuckles on Austin Theory and then get the pin. So that is very interesting that they have Austin Theory come back so quickly and then have him be taking pins like that. Braun Breaker, not there. I don't know when it would happen later, but Adam Pearce and Paul Heyman would have a run-in backstage, and Paul Heyman gave Adam Pearce the phone, and he was talking to someone, and Heyman was making it seem like he was now suspended as well and was going to be off of Raw for a little bit. What they're doing with this angle, I really don't know. There's a lot of chatter that are saying that they could be having Adam Pearce set up to do a WrestleMania match against Braun Breaker, but I mean, what is that going to do other than bury your GM or bury your future? I mean, that's insane. I don't know why Braun Breaker is not still floating around the world title picture. He's just being built up like one of these big, massive guys that just crash out like a Brock Lesnar, but he's not gotten any titles. Brock Lesnar burst onto the scene and won some titles pretty quickly. If I can remember watching stuff on Brock Lesnar, that would go from one dominant tag team in the Vision to Raquel Rodriguez, Liv Morgan, and Roxanne Perez attacking Rhea Ripley and Io Sky after they came out and they were talking about the title match this Saturday at Saturday night's main event, while also simultaneously Liv Morgan and Roxanne Perez and Raquel Rodriguez, all three declaring for the Royal Rumble, as did Jey Uso. One half of the World Tag Team Champions would also declare for the Royal Rumble. It looks like Jimmy is not on the European tour. He's still at home with Naomi. And you got to think that he's going to be going out of action for a bit. So the reasoning and the putting the titles on the Usos is leaving me, and I'm sure a lot of people, scratching their heads on why would you put the titles on the Usos right now if Jimmy is about to be out for quite some time. This would go into El Grande versus and defeating Javon Evans. It's very interesting that they say defeated Javon Evans, because I thought the match was called off. Which it says Javon Evans suffered a leg injury, but yet he was holding his shoulder. Javon Evans would get hurt in this match. I didn't see it because I had not tuned in yet. And even so, they went to commercial really quick. But while watching on the VPN and Surfshark and the other feed, you do get to see all of that and see what happens during a TV break and a commercial break there on Monday Night Raw. This would go to the main event, and it was a massive pop for the hometown kid. Finn Balor grew up 2 hours away from Belfast, Ireland. Michael Cole would also mention this was the first time ever that the World Heavyweight Championship was defended on the island of Ireland. CM Punk would go on to retain, and no surprise there. Why they don't run this one back, I don't know. They could have had Finn win it and then drop it at the Chamber after Punk wins. Because that seems like it was Balor's last actual real chance to win a world title. Again, he has not won one since 2017. It's been almost 10 years, and we all know what happened when he won the Universal Championship and was the first ever Universal Champion, and just got hurt and then was never able to get back there. But no worries, because when JD McDonough comes back, I'm sure they'll be back in the title picture in the tag team division. So justice for Finn Balor and the World Heavyweight Championship. Not that Punk isn't doing a great job of defending it and everything, but it's just the uncertainty of knowing that he's going to be done soon. He's going to be done soon. He could get hurt again. I hope he doesn't. But that is just very, very interesting to see them not give it to Braun Breaker, to see them not give it to Finn Balor, and keep it riding with Punk. If he does hold it through WrestleMania or even after WrestleMania, that is left to be seen. But we will, of course, have that coverage here on Sleeper Sports Media and the Nick Weitoish Show. I'm not sure where we're at timing-wise, but I'm about 10 minutes away from work. So we're going to go over to TNA Genesis Let's see here. Here we go. I'm just going to go through the results. For the first ever TNA pay-per-view that I watched, I really enjoyed it. It was nice and easy. There was no issues with the broadcast. On TNA Plus, we did buy via the pay-per-view, but it was $40. It was not that bad, and very, 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 very interested in possibly getting TNA Plus to watch Thursday Night Impact and have the library available for us right there on TNA Plus, and the app that they have on Roku, on everything. Made it very, very, very easy. So Channing Stacks Lorenzo with Ariana Grace would defeat Eric Young, BDE, and KJ Orso by pinfall in a four-way match for the TNA International Championship. Then we would go, this was a pre-show match, so this was on their countdown show. Tessa Blanchard and Mila Moore with Robert Stone and Victoria Crawford would defeat Indy Hartwell, Vicious Vicky Venuto via pinfall. This was just a regular tag team match. Both those went under 10 minutes. And then we got onto the actual pay-per-view matches. AJ Francis would defeat Rich Swann. That went just under 15 minutes. Mustafa Ali with Tasha Steele, John Schuyler, Jason Hotch, and Special Agent Zero would would pick up the win versus Elijah. That went under 10 minutes. Then we would have Eddie Edwards defeated JDC in a singles match, and this was JDC's retirement match. It went just under 20 minutes. Ryan Nemeth would defeat Mara Sade in an intergender match, which was very, very, very surprising to see that they're still rocking and doing intergender matches, and let alone doing them on a pay-per-view. This went just under 5.5 minutes, so this was perfect, I think. And I don't know if they're going to continue that little feud of what they got going on. I don't know the backstory, since that was the first actual start-to-finish TNA show that I've ever watched, and my first glimpse at the TNA product and what they're putting on over there. Lei Ying Lee, formerly known as Xia Li, with Xia Brookside, would defeat Zarya with Solruka via pinfall. This one went just under 15 minutes, and this was a singles match for the TNA Knockouts World Championship. We had the Hardys defeat the Righteous, again for the TNA Tag Team Championships. That went 12 minutes and 40 seconds. And then we had a triple threat match, or a three-way match. Joe Hendry, Cedric Alexander, and Moose. Joe Hendry would pick up that win in 15 minutes and 21 seconds. Then we would have the main event, a Texas death match for the TNA Knockout World Championship. Nick Nemeth was the special guest referee. Mike Santana would go on to retain that one. So really, really good timing, good pacing, good quality matches, but great, also good storytelling. So they did not miss with any aspect of what you would review and grade a pay-per-view on. Really, really good product overall, and good format. Apparently, a lot of people did not like the AMC debut, the show for the debut. From what I saw, I did not mind it. I think I saw clips, and from those clips, I didn't think that it was bad. I mean, in a debut show right before, so something brand new, right before their first pay-per-view of the year, I think they were doing the best they could. If anything, they just, it's growing pains with AMC, but I don't know why people are hating on the AMC debut. Again, I didn't see it, but possibly with TNA Plus here, I might just go back and watch it and start fresh from this new year and new era of TNA there. So that was TNA Genesis. We watched that on Saturday night. We also watched Collision. We went right from TNA into watching Collision, and I will say TNA was better than Collision. We didn't even get to finish it, but we do know that Hangman and Jet Speed did win the trios titles. Powerhouse Hobbs was pretty much immediately removed from the AEW roster. Don Callis family attacks Moxley, and there was a lot more. Josh Alexander would face Kenny Omega, that's on Wednesday. This went tomorrow on Dynamite is that match. So there was a lot to go over for Collision, but I'm not going to be able to get this done now. So I will be taking my lunch at 2:00 this afternoon, and we'll be finishing up the episode then, and then we'll continue with Collision. We will also talk about the coaching cycle and where we're at with the coaches that were fired. John Harbaugh did agree to be the Giants' new head coach, and he is now apparently trying to get out of it to go and pursue the Bills coaching job. Sean McDermott would get fired after their overtime loss against the Broncos. Bo Nix would break his ankle, or break a bone in his ankle. He is out for the rest of the season as the Broncos host the AFC Championship game this coming Sunday. So it's going to be very interesting to see what goes down out there in Denver. 15 straight years of AFC Championship games containing either the Patriots or the Chiefs, which is an insane stat. It absolutely insane. The Patriots would beat the Texans, which I was happy about, just because I saw a video, and there was a video out there of the Texans mascot ripping up a terrible towel. So people will just never learn. Don't mess with the terrible towel. You just don't do it. It was a snowy game, and there was somebody said that if you turn the ball over 4 times, you're not going to always win games, and that was the case. CJ Stroud turned the ball over. I think he had four or five turnovers yet again. He had 4 or 5 against the Steelers. He had 4 or 5 against the Patriots. The Patriots actually capitalized on that. The Steelers did not. I have a feeling that, and I'm confident to say this, had the Steelers actually showed up against the Texans and actually were playing their brand and their style of football, well, maybe not their brand and style, because that's what they were doing. They were trying to win a game 10-7, and you just can't do that in the NFL today. But had they actually showed up and wanted to actually capitalize off of turnovers and have their offense go out there and score points off of those turnovers and give their defense a break, they would have steamrolled the Patriots. They would, just like they did whenever we played them in week 2 or 3, whatever that was. And then they would have gone to Mile High. And I feel pretty confident that had the events went down the same exact way, just the Steelers beating the Patriots, we would see the Steelers facing a banged-up Broncos, number 1 seed Broncos, yes. But nonetheless, so are the Patriots. We would have definitely been happy here in Steelers Nation had that happened, but it didn't happen. We can play what ifs all day long, but this is where we're at. Still looking for a new coach. Apparently, we've already interviewed Brian Flores. Now we're going to be reaching out to Mike McCarthy, and then a couple other coordinators are sprinkled in there, but more on that this afternoon when I can get this second half of the episode recorded. So this should be posted by 3 o'clock or so, right around that time. But we'll be back here very shortly on the episode. This will also be on YouTube and up on Spotify today at some point, and we will go from there. So without further ado, we'll be breaking down some NFL news. Welcome back to the Nick Weitoish Show. This is Tuesday, January 21st, and if you've listened to yesterday's NXT video, I had a little trouble getting the full episode out, mainly because we were driving shorter distances to work, and I talked a little bit longer than what I thought I was talking, so I didn't not have time to put the episode out into CapCut and do all the things that I do. But that's part of the episode, this first part of the episode, if you're getting to this point, the first 30 minutes or so roughly, were from yesterday's episode. Today's episode will be NXT review as well as Dynamite preview. I know I got the Dynamite preview video scheduled to be out just by itself. I'm going to try to do 2 videos per day, along with the short, which is the specific preview, and then also mentioning that in the full-length podcast episode. But we're just going to do the NXT results and call it a day, call it an episode, because I already talked for 30-something minutes. So, all right, we immediately start things off. Zaruka becomes number 1 contenders to the TNA Knockouts Tag Team Championships. I watched on and off last night for NXT, and Zaria was saying that her shoulder was not 100%. She was banged up from the TNA Women Knockouts World Championship, and if that causes them to lose the chance tonight, to not blame her, telling her partner Zaruka to not blame her. That apparently was not an issue. They won the main event for NXT and are now the number 1 contenders for the TNA Knockouts World Tag Team titles. North American champion Ethan Page defeated Elio LaFleur in the opening contest on NXT. That was, in fact, his debut, and Ethan Page gets another title retainment there as we go into and head into 2026. He was interrupted or approached by none other than Ricky Saints, as we had the first of 2 qualifiers on the show last night for Shiloh Hill defeating Josh Briggs in a NXT Championship ladder match qualifier. This match will go down. The ladder match for the NXT Championship will go down on February 3rd. That was announced by GM Ava. I did hear that in the video package that they showed whenever she announced that. We then had Vanity Project making their NXT debut. I believe they were in-ring debut, since they were being shown on TV and everything for NXT. They were called up from Evolve, which is on Wednesday. Also tonight on Tubi. So maybe in the future we will also add that into the mix. But for right now, it's just Monday through Saturday. Sometimes including Zuffa Boxing and UFC as well. We'll see how that goes with Paramount Plus now that I have access to watch it. I'll familiarize myself with the names and all that good stuff. We then had Jada Parker and puts Blake Monroe on notice. So no titles involved here, but you got to think these 2 are both ready for the main roster. I think this is going to be Trick Williams and Carmelo Hayes. It's going to take another 3 years for them to be called up to the main roster when they are ready right now, and they should be on the main roster right now. Jada Parker made her return last week. Big time pop. Blake Monroe, obviously losing her North American title. I don't think she was supposed to, and now that's being bounced around and probably creatively changing day by day. Sean Legacy would defeat Eli Knight in the other qualifier for the ladder match coming up on February 3rd. I don't know if that's going to be a special episode of NXT or if that's just when they're deciding to do it. But that would be the second qualifier for the evening. And then we would have Zaruka defeating Ren QCC, Fatal Influence, to become number 1 contenders for the TNA Knockouts Championship tag titles, tag team championship there. That was NXT, and that will pretty much do it for the addition to what I wanted to put into this episode. I'm sorry that I did not get it out yesterday. Things got away from me, and it was a crazy night. We had to go shopping for softball stuff and all that good stuff. So keep an eye out for merch for softball. If you're local to East Chatham Little League here in beautiful state of North Carolina. Also, again, Girl Scout cookie season. The cookie store, digital cookie store, will be up and is a proud non-official not official sponsor, partner for today's episode. We're trying to sell some cookies, so help my amazing stepdaughter out with her Girl Scout troop. But until tomorrow, we will be back later this morning with the very short, brief AEW preview with the graphics and everything like that. So this is just to give the results. And I know we talked about a lot yesterday in the 30 minutes that it took me. I can't believe I went for 30 minutes. But that is going to conclude today's episode for January 21st of the Nick Weitoish Show. This will be up on Spotify later tonight, I hope. I should be getting home with more than enough time. Hopefully I don't have anything else that comes up and I have to go do. But until then, I will see you later in the AEW Dynamite preview. And then we'll be back tomorrow for another episode of the Nick Weitoish Show and the TNA Impact preview. Tomorrow will be my first episode of actually watching TNA Impact live on AMC. I have not gotten TNA Plus yet. Still debating on that one, but we will definitely see. Thank you for watching, viewing, and subscribing. Hit the like, hit the share it to all your channels. Leave a comment and subscribe. We're chasing that big 6,000 number, and then after that, we are on the goal and on the road to 10,000, which is absolutely insane. Never in my wildest dreams did I think 5 years later, coming this May, would I be on the road to even close to 10,000. It's absolutely insane, and I know that these next four-ish thousand will be truly earned subscribers. So we're right there at 6. I would love to hit 6,000 before May, when the official 5th year anniversary of Sleeper Sports Media is. May 25th of this year will be officially 5 years since I've been doing this. There is a merch shop up on Printify, so you order it, it goes right to you, ships right to you. Very, very cool basic designs, I think. But we'll get those out and start pushing them as well. I might even buy a couple so everyone can see it. Although I'm really never on camera because that's just better in how I have my setup right now. But maybe I'll start to do some shorts or a check-in video or something while wearing the hoodies or t-shirts or whatever. So until tomorrow, this is the Nick Weitoish Show right here on Sleeper Sports Media. I'm Nick Weitoish, and here we go.